For many astral souls that live in the great country of Britain lies a prophecy. A wedded couple from the subcoral alignment will be exposed to a plague. A warrior from the stars will unleash a great evil, and a homeland hero will rise above the odds to save the day. For many decades, astral souls have been theorizing who and when the prophecy will be fulfilled, but that day would show its head in 2014. This is Prophecy, a storyline from U.N.I.T.S. This storyline is one of the 3 storylines from U.N.I.T.S that occur at once, alongside Mecha Geisha and Kingdom in the Sky. I'm AJ, and much like its storyline companions, these tales are relatively short, and just like the others, I will be bringing up other characters that were made by different people on the site DeviantArt. Check my introductory video on U.N.I.T.S for more information, as well as understanding the concept of reflections. But for now, let's jump into Prophecy. The storyline actually has some origins to the previous U.N.I.T.S storyline, Digital Defenders. In the 4th story arc, as seen more in detail in the D Reaper saga, one of the many alternates of Akashian Wraith was a Wraith alternate taking the appearance of the Final Fantasy VII waifu and fellow Italian lover, Tifa Lockhart. As a turn of events, the real Tifa was in the area when this fight took place, and took care of her doppelganger for the Defenders. Now, because of Final Fantasy's primary alignment being in the subcoral alignment, the Mistress of Vampires, who was also working alongside the Defenders, Carmilla Kernstein, got to know more about Tifa, as well as her significant other, Cloud. And for those wondering why I have Cloud marry Tifa and not Aerith, tell me you played Final Fantasy VII by not actually playing Final Fantasy VII? Regardless, Carmilla made a strong relationship with the Final Fantasy Omniverse, which made the news of Tifa and Cloud contracting a really bad but non-contagious virus all the more concerning for their group circles in August of 2014. The curse not only keeps them bedridden, but also placed in a coma where they can't do anything to improve their condition. Carmilla was aware of the prophecy, but she didn't really connect the 2 incidents. However, she would later be attacked by a particularly unique and strange bounty hunter from space. This was the pink-haired sword-wielding dude, yes dude, named Bubblegum. And yes, the character is a male, but it's not a Yamato situation. He did start out having a more masculine body. He is the flagship character of the DeviantArt Diffuse. And remember how I said in the intro video that units do engage with somewhat fetish material on DeviantArt? This guy's the whole package. So, if you're into that kind of stuff, here's his link. But if you don't have to click his link. But with the arrival of the Space Warrior, now the prophecy was becoming more and more apparent. All that was left was for the supposed British hero. So looking over the list of associates from both the subcoral and Viacom alignment in the country, Carmilla concluded the hero the prophecy foretold was none other than the adventurous archaeologist Lara Croft. When Lara heard the speculation, she wasn't entirely convinced that she was the chosen one, but in her usual adventurous fashion, she couldn't say no to a challenge. In order for her to prove that she is the hero in the prophecy, she would have to go through several challenges and trials all over the country. Because of the risks and dangers, especially coming from Bubblegum's side, Lara would be paired up with allies. Carmilla had to decline the position of being right alongside Lara because she recently got the news that she was pregnant. So instead, my reflection had to be the supervisor of the adventure. Why AJ? Well, he was acquainted with Bubblegum 3 weeks prior, but not in the way you think. Additionally, more allies courtesy from Carmilla and her relationship with the Great War Alignment also came to help the Brit. One was the time-traveling Digidestined Ryo Akiyama, mainly because he's the guy you get when you don't ask for specifics when hiring a Digidestined. But he's still cool. He has Millennium on, so that's automatically cool, I guess. And he's also based off of a Carmen writer. Again, that's kinda cool, I guess. Lastly, there was another random choice that also worked out with Lara, and that was none other than the future Pirate King, Monkey D. Luffy. Which is bizarre. This is a storyline of a hero rising up to the occasion, and Luffy has stated several times he does not call himself a hero. He is the most wanted man in his universe after all. But he does have a sense of justice and doing the right thing, so that's why he helped out. Which is kind of a privilege because he was super busy with the Dressrosa arc at the time. so Luffy occasionally popping in and out of the storyline was a major plus for Laura. But it should be clear that this storyline is only focusing on Laura and not any of her other subordinates. One thing I want to make clear before we actually continue on with this is that I am using other people's characters in these videos, and it's a way for me to freely promote these characters and stories to others while also crediting them if people want to see more of their content. Additionally, some might see me as antagonizing these creators by promoting the original characters as antagonists. However, I see these characters to be used as promotional material, but more importantly for the case of Bubblegum, he acts more as a rival to Laura rather than a full-on nemesis. Also trying to achieve the awakening powers because, well, according to him, he thinks it looks cool. So while the two fought, it wasn't a means of malice, but rather as a way to accomplish trials and competition. Again, I want to not only use these characters, but be respectful about it. Of course, other space warriors tried to fight Laura to disrupt her journey. Again, many of these characters came from his channel. These included the robot Fuse brothers, Bubblegum's companion Boss Cat, and his Empress, the Empress. Similar to other reflections depicted in the storyline, Fuse's own artificial astral soul is a reflection of himself, and does butt heads with Laura, mainly his devil friend Melinda. He too also has abilities to change himself and even manipulate and even control other astral souls with his skills, his most deadliest move being assimilation, which is exactly what you think it is. That's not to say there were other artificial astral souls from DeviantArt that were also present in the storyline, one of which being Donna Limber from the deviant artist Draco Dragonite. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She's basically a stretch superheroine that did help out Laura throughout the adventure, though she did seem unreliable in certain places. More on that later. And speaking of which, it's the finale! The storyline lasted from late August to the early start of 2015, with very few wow moments. I guess I was too spoiled with the crazy arcs that Digital Defenders offered. For now, as Laura completed trials and fought larger-than-life foes, she became more confident that she was the hero cited in the prophecy. Despite this, Cloud and Tifa were still in a sickly condition, not showing any signs of getting better. But the finale was abruptly kicked into high gear with an unexpected announcement. In Shareverse, Death Battle is seen as a big thing, where the loser has to spend 24 hours in the afterlife before being revived. However, a prisoner from Hell can request the loser to spend their sentence there instead. On February 7th, the fight was between Gaara and Toph, and while there was no Hell request for Gaara, something seemed off with Toph after she won. It turns out it was Melinda and Fuse's influence under Toph, and the win from Death Battle gave Bubblegum to complete a challenge and gain access to an awakened form readily available in London. Cloud and Tifa's condition was now terminal. They were going to die in the next 5 hours, as Laura and the guys began their preparations. But that's when Donna stopped them. She confesses that she was actually spying on Laura for Bubblegum and that she would have to kill the three. AJ was running late from all this happening in Europe. But she decided to disobey her orders because she didn't think it was the right thing to do. Laura thanked Donna for revealing the truth and promised that she would take care of BG. The streets of London were packed with battles. Rio fought Melinda, Luffy fighting Boss. Even AJ was stuck fighting a Wolfman. 2 of them! They had massive dogs, but Laura's main battle was with BG. I'm sorry, I can't say Bubblegum anymore because my mouth is getting tired, but it's okay because it's the last time I'm gonna say it. You're gonna see why. It turns out he had already acquired the awakening form, ready to unleash it, assimilating himself with his greatest reflection, and they became one. This was Fuse. He was able to beat Laura senselessly with the awakened form, but Laura knew if she subsided the fight, 2 people would die, and because of that, Laura's motivation reached an all-time high as she achieved her awakened form. Apparently those silly British chaps actually meant that there were 2 awakening powers that would be present for the hero and the space warrior. Of course, who would have known? Awakened Laura fought Fuse, and with her blue powers,
Why are you blue?
Was able to not only beat him, but respectfully defeat her rival. With Fuse's death, the Divas from space all retreated out of Britain. Cloud and Tifa fully recovered, much to Carmella's relief. The group disbanded. Luffy went back to deal with the Dressrosa tournament, and Riel would be a part of Wild and Crazy Guy Day later that year. As for my reflection, I don't know, I had to deal with school. And for Laura, she was seen to her country as not only a hero, but was properly knighted for her services. So that is the end of Prophecy. Except, there's an epilogue, baby!
Yeah, boy!
Later in the year, Tifa participated in a death battle one October night, and then she died because of Rooster Teeth bias. So, whatever. Tifa would come back in 24 hours. Big deal. Well, she was requested to spend her time at Hell's Prison by none other than Fuse himself. This became a danger that when Tifa was revived the next day, Fuse would also come back, fully controlling her. So Laura had to be pulled out of her mansion, interrupting her free time from tendering to her garden, and had to crunch all of her trials and challenges that she went through from the span of 6 months to a single day. As an added layer of security, Cloud was put under watch by his rival Link to make sure he wouldn't fall to another illness. The next day was a lot for Laura, but with her awakened form, Carmella's involvement now that she wasn't pregnant, and Luffy's brand new Gear 4, she was able to zip through a lot of the trials. Oh, and Donna came to help out too. That's nice. Both Tifa and Fuse were aware of Laura's speed run in the afterlife, as Fuse ordered his divas and other pals to make roadblocks for the group. This led into fighting the divas yet again, and meeting some familiar faces. Oh man, not again! But the witching hour came as the 24-hour sentence was upon Tifa to be revived. However, the location of her revival would not be in the Death Battle headquarters as every other loser, but to London. Fuse was itching for a rematch with Laura, and while he did not assimilate himself with Tifa, she was only used as bait. Laura and the group would fight Fuse once again, all to Cloud's dismay as he heard the news in America. But he was able to convince Link to release him from his watch as he warped over to London, using Link as a transporter. As Laura and Fuse fought one-on-one, it became apparent that Laura's much larger and supportive group would overpower him. So, he decided to make a desperate move and try to assimilate Tifa. But in the nick of time, Cloud intervened. This became Cloud's fight, according to Laura, and the two joined up to take down Fuse, with Cloud using an Omni Slash to finally finish off Fuse. There's no way I'm animating all of that. Thankfully, Tifa was safe as she cradled in her husband's arms. London was safe again, as the group disbanded. Again. However, Link saw Cloud's dedication to get his wife back throughout the fight and respected his rival much more. In fact, many people in Shareverse, especially those in the subcoral alignment, theorized that it was because of this incident Cloud was given a spot as DLC for Smash 4. One can only speculate. But that is the real finale of Prophecy. Finally, we get a U.N.I.T.S storyline that doesn't end with everyone feeling like shit. Honestly, Prophecy was a really daunting storyline to revise because of some aspects being cut down. But I still kept the full story and structure intact, so it's not that big of a loss. If you are curious of what the original scrapped ideas were, you could always ask in the comments for this video, and I will get to them. Regardless of that, if you liked the storyline, consider hitting the like button, and subscribe because there will be more U.N.I.T storylines on the way. Until then, I'm AJ, and I'll see you all in the next one.